I can tell you are a great worker. It's time for you to move up to middle management. Welcome to the superpilotish channel today. My name is Graham Wilson. Today, in my basement, I will be talking to you about moving into middle management on my special Middle Management Monday, discussing the joys, the triumphs, and the excitement of middle management. So I figured, we'll bring back the old middle management Monday. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'll just kind of yak about something or other. And so I was gonna talk. I don't know if I did it before. I might be repeating myself, but I don't care. I'll repeat myself. You do enough of these shows, you end up repeating yourself. You probably can't help it. So we are moving to middle management now. Can you tell I'm Canadian? I prepared in advance. Moving to middle management. Be careful with your jokes. I was going to separate this with a little red. There we go. And I just kind of scribbled it down there very quickly. Be careful with your jokes when you become a middle manager. Well, I found this to be something when I became basically a middle manager as a chief flight instructor of a flying school. And so I was working with all the rest of the instructors. So you're on the same plane, the same level. And oh, hey, Nefarious. So you're on the same level with all the other workers there, and now it's time to get into the management role, where now the guys that you were joking around with and all buddy with, maybe you went for lunch with or a few beers with after work or something like that. Well, now you're their boss, and that kind of changes things a little bit. So I noticed that, and it was a kind of a tough thing for me to deal with when I first became a middle manager, because, like, okay, theoretically, I'm these guys' bosses, but I mean, from one day to the next, I was like not their boss, and then all of a sudden, their boss. And so it took me a while because I like to joke around. It took me a while to figure out what jokes are appropriate and what are not. And I think the biggest, I don't know, the weirdest reaction that I got, that I kind of felt, oop, that one went a little too far. Well, I mean, if you're going to be funny, you got to push it up to the line, and that's where it's funny. But you can't always get it right up to that line. Sometimes you go over the line, and then that joke bombs. So you'll see that with stand-up comedians and stuff, or even YouTubers like myself. That you want to be funny, so at one time I said to somebody, uh, I forget exactly how something came around, and I was joking around. Oh yeah, I'll just fire you, but I saw the guy's face just kind of go over like that, and oh hey, Wrench, yeah. So I was like, ooh, I didn't really mean for, like, it's a joke, man. I would never fire you. Actually, the guy that I said that to was probably, oh, if not the best instructor that ever worked for me, like one of them, and he was really good. And it was just kind of a little over the line there, where he was like, is he joking or is he serious? No, he's joking. I know Graham's joking. He does that. But it's just, a little awkward there, right? So yeah, I luckily I picked up on that one, and I never ever joked about firing anyone again, because, like, that's serious. And so that's something that, if you're not used to having power over people, I have the power. Yeah, you kind of do. Like, I remember when I was studying psychology in university, that they were, I don't know, it was social psychology or something like that, talking about power, and the way that they described it in the textbook, just from what I could remember years ago, was that power is the ability to either help someone or harm someone. So if you are their boss, you have the ability to harm them by firing them, and now they don't have access to money, and which means they don't have access to food, clothing, and shelter. So that's harmful, right? So, I mean, you can go get another job and everything like that, but it still sucks getting fired. But I know, it's happened to me. but too many jokes, I guess. So yeah, so it's like you got to be kind of careful about the jokes, and so you're not really so much buddy buddy anymore with your coworkers. You're kind of, you know, you're just, I don't know, you're just their boss. But and so I kind of, I didn't particularly like that. That you know that I don't know, that power that I was given. I didn't want it, but you got to have that for the position, right? That's what they pay you the extra 50 cents an hour for. All that power and loneliness. Okay, not that lonely. Yeah. So, I was gonna put careful with your jokes, and then another one is that former former the what would you say, coworkers, I guess. Oh, where's my fancy schmancy eraser here? Okay, we'll say the former coworkers are not your buddies. Former co-workers, not your buddies. But I mean, it doesn't mean that like all of a sudden you just start start abusing him or anything like that. But you got to keep it a little bit more arm's length, we'll say. Uh, there we go. Former coworkers are not your buddies. And then also, because you are the middle management, you are on the management team. Hey, aren't you happy to be on the team? So, but you also report to either like a district manager or a board of directors or something like that. That's why you're in the middle. So you got your employees, and then you have a boss too, or bosses. So, but they're not your buddies either, even though you're on the management team. They can still fire you. So you can't just go joking around with the CEO of your company and like, I don't know, start bashing him on his golf game or something. You'll just piss him off and he'll fire you. So yeah, so we'll say that neither are yours. Neither is the rest. Okay. But that's okay. Don't be all bummed out about middle management. I'll be I'll be coming around to who your real friends are. So we'll say neither are your bosses. So what I found, yeah, there we go. So your coworkers are not your buddies, and neither are your bosses. They are not your friends. Don't be too buddy buddy with them. Now that you're on the management team, you're not. You're still a peon, little middle manager. you're you're just scum in their eyes, anyways. But yeah. So or depending on how they are and how they act, but you can kind of bitch and gripe and complain and moan to other middle managers. So you're kind of on the middle management team there. So whether it's the office manager or the I would all chief flight instructors have a lot of, or chief flight instructors or former chief flight instructors, we kind of have um I don't know, it's, I wouldn't say like a camaraderie, but we know where the other person's coming from. And there, it's rare in aviation to have that where only this person can really know what that person's into, and maybe a few people at Transport Canada can also relate, but they have to do a job too to regulate you and stuff. So they can't really be your Transport Canada is not your buddy buddy. You can be professional and friendly with them, but or like the FAA in the States, be professional and friendly, but they're not your friends, you know. But there's some good ones though. And yeah, so it's like yeah, your real coworkers now might not even work at your company. It might be the guy down the road or someone you meet somewhere else. You're in middle, man. You're in middle management too, man. Yeah. Meet him at the bar, pounding whiskey all night, all stressed out. Maybe, but yeah. So that would be yeah. So there's a few little tips there about the middle management, and then Okay, the other thing that I was going to talk about here is okay. Well, I'll do a little summary of those 3 points, and then just do another little thing there too. So you're here. You are. You're an employee. You become middle management. Okay, be careful about your jokes. Wield your power responsibly and fairly, and don't let it go to your head. Okay, former coworkers are not your buddies anymore, so that kind of goes along with the jokes. Don't go boozing with them after work anymore. That's kind of all gone. Once they're too buddy, that also gets they try to get away with things a little bit more. I know I would do that if I was super buddy with my boss. I'd try to get away with things too. So it's just human nature, nothing personal. And your bosses are not your buddies either. So be careful. You got to protect your job. So, anyways, there's that. Sounding fun so far? You want to be a middle manager, do you? Ooh, exciting. But I mean, it is good experience to, even if you just give it a try. You will learn things along the way. And anything you learn, it's makes you smarter, and you can look at the world a different way, get a different perspective on maybe something that maybe you didn't really understand before, and then because you've done this job or that job, or held that position, or been responsible for that, yeah, you can kind of understand where some of these people are coming from. Okay, next one is making mistakes. Okay, this is part 2 of my middle management exciting middle management Monday. Making mistakes. Okay, everyone makes mistakes. Making mistakes. All right. Ooh, I'm gonna get some red on this one here too. Ooh. So there we go. Now we're making mistakes. Why? Because we just became middle managers here, and now we're not like trying to boss around our buddies that we used to be coworkers with. And oops, something happens. The first thing you got to do. And I don't know. For some people, it's easier than others. It's never really been a problem for me, but I have seen others do it. Admit you are wrong. That's right. So even managers make mistakes. And the thing is, I find like the higher up you go in the chain of command, the less people want to hear excuses. The less, the higher up people get in an organization, the more they get pissed off at mistakes, because I don't know, that just tends to be the way things are. But yeah, so admit you're wrong, because you could, like, say I had an employee and I've done that job before. Okay, and I know they made a mistake, and they come to me and they start lying to me like, oh no, like they land and they only got 2 gallons of gas left in the airplane. It's like, hey man, you did not plan properly for that. That is very dangerous, and you screwed up. And you didn't even try to cover it up by putting more gas in the tank for the next person. You're that dumb. So if you come back with not enough gas in the plane, make sure you gas it up for the next guy. Oh, how much do you want? Well, full tanks? Oh, no problem. And then you go like, ooh, got to check my fuel better next time. That could have been bad. Actually, running out of fuel is very bad for airplanes. It's 30% of all the crashes out there because people ran out of gas. So that's for little airplanes anyways. So yeah, so admit you're wrong, because your boss is going to know, like if you're a middle manager, the people on the board or your regional director or whoever's above you, they're going to know what happened. So there's no sense in lying to them. I mean, like, well, I'll pull a fast one on them. It's not like you're 4 years old and you stole some cookies from the cookie jar. Oh, it wasn't me. I don't know. You got crumbs all hanging off your face and stuff. Nope, wasn't me. Nope, no, I had one. You had 5 or whatever. But that's for a 5-year-old kid with a cookie jar. It's not for a middle manager. You got to be an adult about these things and admit that you're wrong. And then, so if you do make this mistake, I mean, I anytime. Well, I guess I kind of learned that as a machinist very quickly, making scrapping out parts that maybe cost the boss or cost the company some money because you make mistakes, and sometimes it's just foolish or just your mind wanders and wham, you crash your machine and the metal's all messed up, busted a tool or something. That's not cool. But I mean, at first, when I was working in a machine shop, I was trying to be like all very apologetic. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Boss, because I was used to working in like not white collar world, but service industry world instead of manufacturing world. In manufacturing world, it's all guys and stuff. So you don't have to really, the feelings are not exactly spared or whatever. So, rah, 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 rah. And then I was like, "Don't tell me this." Blah blah. You get this kind of whoa, and then you kind of figure out, okay, I got to toughen up a little bit here. So you say, "Yeah, I effed it up. What do you want me to do now?" And they go, "Oh, okay. Do you want me to? Should I take it over to get it welded?" Yeah, yeah, do that. Okay, boom. So you give a solution to your boss, and he just has to go, yeah, because he was going to tell you to do that anyways. So if you make your mistake as a middle manager, admit that you're wrong, and then okay, so I made just a couple little notes here. Oh yeah, and then so okay, yeah, let's do this here. So if you're wrong, and you're gonna get busted because you screwed up, make sure you have a solution to the problem already. To fix solution to fix your mistake. We'll say that. So you can, and when I get a call from Transport Canada and they say like, "Hey, what are you doing down there, Chief? What are you trying to trying to crash all your planes down there?" No, it's just this one. So yeah, so have a solution to fix the mistake, and in kind of more of an which is this is very standard in aviation, but not necessarily standard in every other organization. But it's just kind of part of the aviation culture is to we'll say how to avoid the mistake in the future. Mistake in future. So there we go. So how to avoid the mistake in the future. So that would be okay. What happened there? Let's say something was happening where some airplane dinged its wingtip off of a snowbank or something like that. Well, the because they weren't taxiing on the center line, which they're supposed to do. So, what's the solution to fix that mistake? Remind people, okay, you got to taxi on the center line. And how do you avoid the mistake in the future? Well, you just kind of remind people of that. More training, usually. Like that's the way anything is in aviation. Usually, there's a mistake, something happens, you go in the simulator if you're a big jet guy, and then okay, more training, more training, more training, and then the combination of embarrassment and training will make you never do that again. But there might be something else out there. So yeah, so that's how you handle your mistakes. Just a few little tips as a middle manager, but I mean, it could also apply that if you're an employee too. So I admit you are wrong. Okay. And then give a solution right away. Oh, well, we could do this so that we can get back in business again. And then this is how we avoid it in the future. Okay. And that works for like any, whether you're, drive-through manager at Burger King or whatever, it's like, how do we have why are the employees always dropping the fries on the floor in between the drive-through window and the cars? Well, I don't know. See, because of this and that and that, maybe extend the window out another 6 inches or something. Okay. Yeah. So here we go. So, yeah, I don't know, just a little middle management Monday. It's I guess I'm kind of gonna stick with this because then unless I run out of topics on that, I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I can always, I mean, it's my channel. I can do whatever I want with it. I can change it to something else Monday, McDonald's Monday, and I sit here and eat greasy food and do like food reviews. This Big Mac tastes great, but it makes my stomach feel like garbage all afternoon, something like that. And then I get all fat. Okay, yeah, so I'm just amusing myself in my basement talking to my camera now. But I'm glad you guys came by here. Um, oh, here we go. This is a good question here. If you were Facebook friends, should you unfriend them? How personal should you be with your boss? Okay, I would say, it's kind of, it depends on the boss and depends on the employee too. But generally there should be a little bit more distance there. Like I find for me, it's better if I'm the boss, I got to distance myself from the employees. I would not unfriend people on Facebook because, like, I don't even have, I've never have had a Facebook page, but I have seen people get, people break up on Facebook, their girlfriend, boyfriend, they break up. Hey, she changed her status to single, or something like that. And then, so yeah, I wouldn't really go unfriending anybody on Facebook. And that's another weird thing about Facebook. People say, "Oh, they're a friend of mine," but you met them once at a party, and they're just like friends on Facebook. But people will say, "Oh, that's my friend." We have friends in common. Well, on Facebook, I don't know. I just find that to be a little weird. And then how? So I'd say, yeah, it's okay to my personal opinion. Yeah, you can still have friends on Facebook. And how personal should you be with your boss? Be friendly. For me, the way I would treat any boss is, friendly, professionally. Um, yeah, uh, the jokes would be a little less edgy. We'll say something like that, and yeah, so just kind of keep things friendly and on a business level. That's what I would say. But it also depends too. If you're like lifelong friends or something like that, yeah, you can be a little bit more friendly. But I think that would be really tricky for me. I would not want to work for or have like a really good close friend of mine. I wouldn't want to be his boss, or I wouldn't want someone to be my boss that was that close, like say long, known the guy for 30 years and we've been buddies. We've been to each other's, I don't know, bachelor parties and gone crazy. But yeah, so if it was like lifelong friends, I guess you could be kind of more friendly that way. But in general, the general rule anywhere for workplace is just keep it friendly and keep it professional. So that's my advice, and that's what I would do, and it works for me. Okay, I see something else Wrench has here, but I'm not going to bring that up because it's getting right into the whole political kind of breaking the rules of my show, so I won't bring it up. But I do see the comment you have there, Wrench. Oh, most of the companies that Wrench has worked for are formerly independent sites started by cool people, but eventually get bought up by worldwide conglomerates. So there are many layers of management. Yeah, that is a phenomenon that happens with if you're an engineer, tech companies, stuff like that. You start off and it's cool and it's a little company, and you're starting off, it's all kind of exciting and growing, and some bigger companies gobbles it up, and then everything changes. It's just kind of the evolution of companies, and yeah, and at that point, the dynamics change the more management gets involved. Yep. Okay. Okay, this is a funny one too. Crash with no gas. TV news says, luckily no fire. No gas is not luck. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. So what was I going to see there? There was like I was looking on Twitter. Okay, so I'm done with my middle management here now. I was just going to kind of bring this up today on the show. I saw on the Twitters, the X. Apparently, there was that Alaska Airlines, the Alaska Airlines plane that lost a door, as they say. The media reports it all weird. So they say it was actually a door plug. And if anyone's wondering about that, I looked into it a little bit because I really wasn't too familiar. So I'll save someone some Googling here. I'll talk about our Alaska Airlines flight something something from, where was it, Portland, Oregon or something like that. And it was, I don't know, just kind of, it's all in the news and kind of pops up. So luckily, I mean, what happened is I'm going to draw my 737 here. All those big jets look the same to me. Some people think, oh, that's gorgeous. And to me, all the jets look like that from the side. So there's we got a wing here. We got our, all right. So there's your 737. So the type of problem that they had there was had nothing to do at all with when those 737s were having problems with their angle of attack indicator. Totally unrelated problem. So what happened there for your Alaska Airlines? Okay, so there's the door you normally board. You get on your airplane, you could hang a left and go to the cockpit, or you hang a right and you go to the back of the plane. Well, apparently, like the rule is that you got to be able to get everybody out of the plane in 90 seconds to be certified, by the FAA. So what they can do on that particular, they build all the 737s, so you got a door here, but there's an optional door here back in the back. Okay, and what happens is for that Alaskan Air thing, there's no actual door there. They call it a door plug, and so it's just like the shape of the door, and they just bolt it on there. So it just plugs into an existing hole. So if you configured this airplane with squished in seats more, and you got a couple hundred people instead of like the Air Alaska configures it so it doesn't have as many seats, so you only need the one door to get everybody out in 90 seconds. So that's why they didn't need to put another door in there, which would be more expensive. It's easier, it's cheaper just to stick a little, and you can have seats there right next to the where the door would be, and then you can make money on that. But yeah, so it's basically just a cover that it kind of looks like it kind of, there's some lugs there that kind of it goes onto the lugs, and there's a couple of bolts to keep the heavy duty lugs from, I don't know, moving. So somehow it was either installed wrong or something. I'm sure they'll get to the bottom of it. And DH Pilot 1, hi. Yeah, so that little plug came out. So if the plane was configured to have smaller seats all squished in more, that would become a door like that. And they'd say, okay, now the people in the back, because you got more people on there, you're going to need an extra door to get them all out in 90 seconds. So there we go. So it was like the door. When they talk about door plug, that's what it is where there would normally be a door, but it's just like kind of a chunk of metal with a frame and it's bolted in. And I guess it wasn't, so it popped out. And then the plane depressurized. It was at 16,000 feet, which wasn't that big of a deal. What happens if you have a rapid decompression like that? I'm sure everybody's ears popped, and then the oxygen mask came down, and then to descend from 16,000 feet down to, like, once that happens, the rule is you get down to 10,000 feet. Once you're at 10,000 feet, people don't really need oxygen or supplemental oxygen. They don't need the mask anymore, and be a little bit warmer too. And so to go down from 6,000 feet down to 10,000 feet, even if you're descending Like, I mean, you could really jam the nose down there and get down in there like a minute. You could jam her down and descend at like 6,000 feet a minute, but that'd be pretty hard on people's ears. So, even a couple minutes, you'd be a couple minutes on your oxygen mask, and then you're cool. So it wasn't that bad, and they just circled around and landed. So there we go. So that's your Air Alaska 737 update. Everybody's cool. And some middle manager somewhere has to do a whole bunch of paperwork. That's another one of the joys of being a middle manager. Chief pilot, all right, safety inspector, blah, blah, blah. Let's do the paperwork and check them bolts. Okay, so, yeah, and there was an airworthiness directive put out by Boeing saying, okay, you have to inspect to make sure the little plug thing is secure in there. So not the end of the world. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. They said window on Fox. Yeah, nefarious. It's like the when it comes to media, they just they don't know anything about airplanes, so they get everything wrong. Like guaranteed. I don't think I've ever seen like a report in the media where it's exactly right. Pilots would be like, they're always looking for that one thing that's wrong. They always get at least one thing wrong. Sometimes it's major, sometimes it's not. But okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, and Rich heard that phones got sucked out the hole. I saw that on X, Twitter X. Apparently, they found a couple of them on the ground, a couple iPhones, and yeah. But they make it sound like, ooh, it fell from 16,000 feet and it survived. Well, I guess I don't know what the terminal velocity of it would just be at whatever terminal velocity of a phone would be. So I don't know. And then if you land into a tree, the tree leaves and branches and stuff like that will break the fall. So I know a guy, he had a bad accident in a plane at the school I went to before I showed up there, and he was lucky that he spun this plane into the ground, and because it was on the side of a hill, and he crashed it into I think it was spruce trees or pine trees, and so the pine tree branches are all like this, right? So it all broke his between the angle of the hill and all the branches of the trees, it kind of absorbed all the downward force, and some farmer went over and found the guy passed out, hanging in the straps in his plane, but it didn't even. It was just kind of, I don't know. It didn't even like crash in the ground or anything like that. So. I mean, the wings were bent up and everything, but like it didn't plow into the ground. So the guy had to get a bunch of steel pins in his ankles and stuff like that, but he ended up graduating. So there we go. Okay, what do we got here? Standard is 90 seconds using half the escape exit. All I know is that there's some kind of 90 seconds in there. So, yep. So, Robin, my man, is just popping in here too. So, hello and goodbye. Oh, Robin, my man, showed up, so we got a split, man. Forget it. Total Quality Management by Boeing, soon to be a bestseller. I don't know. But, yeah, so that's about it for today. And, yeah, what do we got here? Okay, I was just about to go, but DH Pilot 1 reminded me, remember the video camera that fell off one of the airplanes around here? It kept filming while it was spiraling down, and they were able to find it based upon the view they had. Yeah, that was a GoPro that was attached to the outside of an airplane, and the suction cup went boink. But I forget how that worked. That they figured out where it was somehow. Oh no, that was it. I think they had two. Yeah, they had two, and they could see. They looked at the video from the one GoPro, and they saw the point at which the other GoPro fell, and then they could see what farm it was. They went looking through the farm, and they actually found it. So yeah, Very good, triangulation physics. Obstacles is, what is it? I don't know, different acceleration and stuff like that. But yeah, someone actually did that. Okay, I believe that's how the story went. Don't quote me on that. A lot of my a lot of my stories are like, I'm not sure if that's true or not, but in my head it's true. So, anyways, okay. Yeah. Okay. He's implying it was transmitting live. I don't know if it was transmitting live or not. It seems to me my version of the story, but that's also airport gossip, and everybody gets it all wrong. So I'm not 100% sure on that, Rich. Okay, there we go. We made it through another Middle Management Monday. Today is Monday, so that means I'll be back on Wednesday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern, and we'll just kind of shut her down. So thank you for watching. Bye.